Good morning, everybody. This is going to be my last article for the day, and it looks like we got another one due to Sweet Baby Inc. Title: Sweet Baby Inc. CEO Kim Belair continues to play victim in attempts to deny her company's goal is to wokeify games. Really? Really? Spider-Man 2, Dustborn, Concord, Alan Wake 2. Those are games that you guys worked with, alongside with. If I'm not mistaken, you also try to work with Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed. Don't give me that, man. These just people are just trying to hide it. In an interview with Black Girl Gamers on YouTube, Belair's, I think of us almost as patient zero of this wave of Gamergate. When I think of it where it started, it was kind of the week that we had announced that we were both on Alan Wake 2 and Spider-Man 2, which are two, I think, popular games among the game community and players in general. She continued immediately. I think the targeting began with this kind of like, we found this secret, sinister website from Sweet Baby Inc. Meanwhile, we're on Twitter like X. Like, I'm just so excited to let people know that the worked on these two really great games. And the assumption was essentially made that our work on that had not been story or narrative or character related. It had been to make a black character exist in Alan Wake 2 and to put pride flags in Spider-Man 2. See, man, come on. Give me a break, man. And that was kind of like the assumption of that we had wokeified the video games, Belair added. She continued, as a company, we worked on over 80 games together, so there was plenty of fodder for people to start going, oh, is this the reason that all these games are now woke? That they have people of color in them, or queer people, or an marginalized identities at all? Or even sometimes they perceive like, oh, this woman's design is not quite as it used to be, and I think it used to be hotter. So there's a lot of stuff that's been put on us, both things that we did work on, things that we didn't. And then we kind of just became shorthand for the wokeification of gaming, she said. However, Blair made it abundantly clear that her entire goal and her company's goal was to wokeify gaming back in 2019 during the Game Developers Conference, she said. None of what we're doing is being about ticking boxes or about a venue of wokeness. We actually have to care about making this stuff. In fact, during the presentation, Belair made it clear that she would weaponize cancel culture to achieve her goals. If you're creative working in AAA, which I did for many years, put this stuff up to your higher ups, and if they don't see the value and what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want. Because they have to consider, I say that out loud as a joke, but it's actually very, very true, because if you start to consider the people who are player and audience facing, and you have to deal with mitigating harm and with keeping the sentiment around their game and their project positive, there's like a genuine value that you could impress upon them both aesthetically and financially. You could say this is important, she said. Belair elaborated. It's also a valid discussion that become if you're working with a thin narrative budget and your work in AAA. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised or dismayed by the amount of money that marketing can give you. This would not be the only time she would express such aims. In an interview with Inclusion Effects, she said, she wanted to take over the video game industry. She said, today what we do is writing, narrative design, and story building. Story breaking as our first and foremost. But on a secondary level, we work very hard to get marginalized talent industry to protect them the way that we would want to have been protected, to lift them up, and to get them into an industry where they're too often shut out. Belair then admitted, and basically, I think to take over in the hopes that some really dope people will be able to lead into our kinds of a new era for an industry that's been the same way too long. In fact, Sweetberries Inc. website makes it very clear that the company's goals are. It says our mission is to tell better, more empathetic stories while diversifying and enriching the video game industry. We aim to make games more engaging, more fun, more meaningful, and more inclusive for everyone. Despite all of this, Belair attempted to gaslight viewers of Black Girl Gamer's YouTube channel by offering her own definition of what it means to welcoming game. She said it's the greater movement right towards right towards a lot of like very far right thinking, and a lot of very aggressive material that's kind of just being pushed out across a lot of different, or at least like a lot of audience of a lot different industries are currently kind of talking about that. And obviously, the political landscape is kind of led to a lot of this. I think for a lot of people, it really comes down to they see a change that they themselves did not expect Belair posted. They see a change that they can't fathom, that their beloved companies on their beloved teams, whatever makes themselves. So they kind of assume that on anyone who comes in who looks like myself or other members of my team are the interlopers. Our job can only be tied to our identity. Yeah, man, this nonsense, man. It's just unbelievable. Valera then attempted to address that what she sees as a misfortune about her company, despite her repeated statements about what her company does. Speaking of misfortune, I think the biggest thing for us during this campaign is that I would say that any kind of sensitivity work or consulting work is cultural consultation. Probably represents about 15% of our work, where the vast majority of it is actually writing narrative design, joining writing teams, helping support writing teams, sometimes being the entire writing team for a project, or helping with mission design. But the part that really gets everyone assuming that we can't possibly do all that other work because all what we are is, DEI. We became labeled as a DEI company when the facts of the way that we work is that someone calls in and says, "Hey, we've made a bunch of choices. We love for you to either help write, help look at them, help talk to us, or even sometimes our cultural consultation is a specific, it's job consultation. That is that it's what is that it's we had to hire meteorologists at one point to do a consult on a project, and I think that the idea of authenticity for people, if say like, oh, we hired a lawyer because we have to, write about lawyers, no one would ever bat in an eye, but they can't imagine that you would want to bring in someone from a specific background or country or experience to talk about this. I think there's this idea that if a game company is reaching out to external, that's because they're missing something, or they can't handle something, and not because in the very real world of creation. Across many different media, people talk to each other. People have writers' rooms, directors and writers of huge movies to each other's house and talk and do punch ups to each other's scripts. And that's kind of, how creativity works, but this is what it becomes, he concluded. As noted above, Sweet Baby Inc. labels itself as a DEI company. Furthermore, as Bishop Barron informed Woke ideologies like Bellar advocate a deeply analytic social theory whereby the world is divided sharply into the two classes of oppressors and oppressed. Second, they relatively moral value and see classical morality as an intent by the ruling class to maintain itself in power. Third, they focus not so much on the individual as on racial and ethnic categories, and hence they endorse the idea of collective guilt and recommend a sort of reverse discrimination to address the injustice of the past. Fourth, they tend to demonize the market economy and the institutions of democracy as part of its superstructure, defending the privileged filth. Fifth, they push toward equity of outcome throughout the society rather than equality of opportunity. He added, and finally, wokeism employs divisive and aggressive strategies of accusation that are contrary to the gospel demand to love our enemies. Suffice it is to say that Catholic social teaching standards athwart of all this. It wants social justice, of course, but not on woke terms. Its heroes are not Marx, Nietzsche, and Foucault, but rather Isaiah, Amos, Jeremiah, Jesus the Lord, Ambrose, Aquinas, and Teresa of Calcutta. Yeah, there you go. There you have it with there you have it with the CEO Kim Blair there, man. She's saying that she's playing the victim, but we all know that this is all bull crap, bro. She wants all this to happen, bro. So I say this now and I say this again. If you see any game company that has Sweet Baby Inc. involved, I recommend you don't play this game. I recommend you not play it. So, but let's see. Let's keep. Let's see. Well, how far Sweet Baby Inc. is gonna go with this. So, if you like the video, hit the like button. Share this video. Post a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts about this. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button for me. All right, you guys. You have a good day. Bye for now.